Wouldn't it be cool to play all those old console games that you remember so well from your youth? Well, even if you don't have the old machine anymore, you can still play them on your PC thanks to emulation, right, Raj?
Yes, emulation.
What is that?
It's basically replicating a piece of hardware in software. Because when you run the data, it doesn't care as long as it's handled in the correct manner or in the same manner as it would if it was an actual physical machine.
So our PCs are fast enough to, in software, act like the old arcade consoles, or the 2600 or the Coleco Atom or the...
You know, if it ran on chips or any kind of integrated microprocessor, there's an emulator for it.
Who's writing these emulators?
Most of the time they're hobbyists. These are people looking for a challenge and, you know, hey, this looks kind of cool. And oftentimes these machines have been around long enough that they're so well documented that it's relative, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's relatively simple to cobble, especially one for something like the 2600 together.
If you watch an emulator evolve, it starts out very trial and error. It works with one game, then they add games and say, oh, we have to change this, tweak this.
It's because they're looking at how the programs react, and they got to have the proper response. I mean, some people make emulators for, believe it or not, calculators. Now,
I've seen MAME. In fact, I have MAME. That's for arcade machines, right?
Yes, it was a very ambitious project, and it's grown over the years, and the whole key behind MAME is to emulate all the machines that people remembered in the arcade. That would be like the Centipede game, all the way up to even the Terminator, you know, the light gun games.
You've got MAME running on that little tabletop.
Yes, I do. And you know, if the speaker was working, I'd probably still play it. But unfortunately,
we'll fix that.
It's somewhat busted.
That we can fix. Now, what about this? These are emulating console games. It's a little different.
It's a little different. It's a little more specific. So what they have to do is emulate all the kind of same routines that the hardware would oftentimes function. That would include graphics and sound. So that means they also have to emulate a large portion of those routines as well.
Well, show us something.
So, okay, the first one I'm going to show you is the Atari 2600 emulator called Stella X, but this is the website where you can find all the information about it.
For all the Ataris, not just the 2600.
But it only has the most information on the 2600 emulation because it's been so well documented. AtariAge.com. But once you run it, Stella X is the program. The original program was called Stella. The X is the Windows GUI version. So you can, instead of doing command line, you can just collect.
Now, where did you get all these games?
These, believe it or not, I think I got these from Dan Mitchell.
Is it legal?
Some of these, you know what? Before, these used to be freely available off the web. I think ever since Jack Specific started up the whole joystick 10-in-1, that they might have bought up the rights. But that was, I think, 2 years ago. And
I guess the point is they're so old and nobody's really actively claiming the rights anymore.
Well, oftentimes, most of the ROMs you see are illegal, but there are a few that are public domain because the original copyright holders let them lapse and they no longer exist to claim them.
It may be technically illegal,
if you do a search on public domain ROMs, oftentimes
then you can find some.
You'll find some.
So if you're worried about that, get the public.
You won't get all the popular ones. So
let's see some.
Let's go to one that everyone remembers. Let me see. CO Combat.
Combat. I love
Combat. So it's.
That was probably the most primitive. Listen to the sound. So it was basically a noise generator.
Yeah, well, you know, the Atari 2600 had a very simple white noise generator. So I'm going to move up and see if I can shoot this guy with my. So, you know, of course, this is a two-player game, and it's only fun if, you know, someone's with me. But, you know, you get the point.
That was a fun game.
Oh, yeah. I remember playing, you know, quite a few times.
As simple as the graphics are, it's probably still fun.
And, you know, you can ricochet.
It's really just Pong.
It really is. But, you know, you get,
without bouncing.
You could do a bunch of, you know, 2600 games. As primitive as they are, they have a very heavy nostalgia value.
Now, obviously, 2600 is easy to emulate because it's not very fancy. Can we do more elaborate ones?
Yes, we can do the Super Nintendo. NES has been done to death. The problem with the Super Nintendo oftentimes was it had a lot of custom chips. It had a custom sprite generator.
Very difficult to emulate.
Custom sound chip, because the main processor was relatively weak compared to the Genesis. But, you know, someone did it. And the beauty is, unlike the actual console, you can do a bunch of enhancements, including graphics. So let me just pick.
You mean the graphics are better than they were?
You can actually anti-alias the graphics.
They're better than on the Super Nintendo.
So let's pick someone that someone won't sue me for here.
And that apparently is difficult to find. Okay.
You know, I got these from someone a long time. I think they emailed them to me because I did a whole.
We have no idea where they came from.
Yes.
We've lost that email.
I've lost actually all the sites too that I used to support. But you know.
Oh, Raiden.
So you know, I can play all the same games, and the beauty is, if I ever want to change anything, I can.
I loved this game.
Watch this. Once it launches, I can actually turn off the background. I can turn off the other parts of the.
Oh, you control it. Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because
much more control than in then.
So you know, it's kind of cool in that respect, and I know I'm going to get my ass toasted here.
No, you don't say that word now. Come on. Just because you're getting beat up is no reason to use profanity on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I apologize profusely.
He's reverting to his youth.
You know, because I used to spend way too much time on this, and then my parents would say, "Roger, it's time to go home." I said, "No, I only got past the first 3 levels."
Well, now you don't have to go home. You are home.
Yeah. And
okay, what else?
Now, here's the coup de grace.
The coup de grace.
Now,
the pièce de résistance.
PlayStation. Now, the PlayStation's really kind of...
Can you really? Not the PlayStation 2, but the original PlayStation.
The original PlayStation, and if you go to this site, allthose.com, you actually find every piece of information on emulating the PlayStation.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, you know, it's been so popular, and because they're so cheap, the CD-ROMs, that people have just managed to emulate the, you know, everything in software. Remember Bleem?
Yeah. And, Bleem was a commercial program.
Yes, it was a commercial program, and you know, inspired a lot of people, even though it's not been around because it got sued out of existence.
Sony stopped it.
One of the more popular ones is this EPSX, and the reason why is it's so configurable. People write different plugins.
Well, let's see a game.
So let's run this game.
So we're running from a CD-ROM. So if you had the game, you could still play it.
Yeah, if you have the game.
Oh man! So, now that would be that's got to be legal. Maybe not. Maybe Sony still says, well...
You know, oftentimes they complete...
Oh, I love Dino Crisis.
Do you?
Well, there's the new one is great. There's a new one now, you know.
So, as you can see, the game runs...
Is it a terrible game? I like it.
No, I mean, it's... I don't remember you ever playing it, so...
I didn't play it with you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I did, but anyways, you know, it's a great way, you know, just so people know that there's another solution out there. There's also remember Connectix Video Game Station?
The Bleem is back.
Oh, well, this is not Bleem. This is the one before Bleem. And this is one Steve Jobs made a big deal about during one of the Mac Worlds about iMac. Right. And the great thing is that, you know, it supports everything software. It works well.
It's the demo.
It's the demo version because the company and the program is out, but people have mirrored the original demo version, so you can still download it. People have made hacks and tweaks, so you can actually run this on XP in 2000, which you couldn't originally.
So if you have your old Dino Crisis CD,
yeah, and you know what?
Life is not over.
It runs just like the original.
Is this yours?
This actually is mine. I spent $12 on it.
I don't remember you playing this.
That's good. I have never played it. I just bought it.
If you want to learn more about game emulation, just visit our website, techtv.com/call for help. Look how good that looks. That's amazing. Up next, it's time to juice up the big board and give away some prizes. The Wire World Challenge is heading your way when Call for Help continues. You stay right here. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's as good as on a PlayStation. I like it.
There's no company for Sony to sue anymore.
That's right. They can't stop it.
But you know what?